Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Everybody's coming in. Give it a few minutes here. So I have to admit everybody from the waiting room now. Good to see some of your faces. Everybody who I'm seeing is looking well. That's excellent. You see, I went festive today. I have my Hawaiian shirt on. So Hawaiian shirt Fridays. I'm bringing them back even if I'm sitting at home. Feel free to join me next week so I don't feel so alone. Baloo, is that a poster on your back wall there? What is that of? Looks pretty big. To your right, and you're muted, so you have to unmute yourself to answer. What is that?
Little paintings that my girlfriend does.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, they're like my hero characters, if you know anime at all.
I don't, but I've heard things about that. So you got anime. Blue, what do you got on yours? Yes, you. What do you got? I can see something. It's large. What is it? Other side, to your right. That thing. What is that? You're on mute. You have to unmute yourself so we can hear you. I think it's Control A.
Me?
No, not you. Looks like you've got a couch or something in your background.
No, I'm in my bed.
What is that in your background? The headboard or something?
Yeah.
Ah, okay.
What's wrong?
All right, we're still admitting a few people here. We'll give it another minute or two, and then we'll go ahead and get started. Don't forget to post into the discussion board on D2L that you were here today. So that's how I'm doing attendance, remember. So whether you do it right this second or you do it next Thursday, that's fine too. I try to leave it open for most of the week because all I care about is that you're checking in and that you're still with me to the end here. So that's kind of the important part.
I have a question, Jeff.
Yes, what is your question?
This might be a silly question, but
Is it going to make me laugh?
Probably. I make myself laugh all the time. So you send out a new schedule and it said 4 something and then 5 point something and 5 point something. Is
Yes.
that what we do tonight going forward into next week?
Yes. So
Okay.
I wouldn't have expected you to have it done tonight because the videos won't post till 8 p.m. anyway.
Okay, well, I looked for the videos for like a good 15 minutes all over YouTube, and they weren't. I called my kid up from downstairs.
Oh,
your videos. I thought I was missing them.
no, Danielle. So ever so
Okay.
I try to keep them separated because if I did that tonight, not everybody would have watched them by tonight, and then it'd be weird things. So you're always, this Q&A is basically always a week behind whatever I post.
Okay.
So
what
next
was
week.
So
this
what's
week was
supposed to be done up until tonight.
So this week I think was 4-2 and 4-3.
Okay. I couldn't find 4-3. I don't know. Maybe I didn't look. Okay.
Should be there.
4-3. I know it is. I know. I'm just overlooking it.
Okay. Well, if it's not, let me know. You may communicate with me through email, and I will do my best. I try to make sure. All right, so let's go ahead and get started then. So the first thing is just some housekeeping once again, and hopefully everyone saw that I did send you email through D2L, and it is posted in our announcement section that the schedule has changed just a little bit, mainly because I'm trying to get in the material to make sure that you're as prepared as possible for the final exam. And so by doing it this week, we're pushing it a little bit hard this week with the number of videos that I had put out there for next week's Q&A, if you will. But again, you've got a week to watch them. And if you don't get them all watched, that's okay. Watch as many as you can. Because next week, what I'm shooting this weekend, if you will only be probably, 3 or 4 videos tops. So next week should be a little bit lighter because it's all about graphing. And then the week after that is I will basically shoot the entire review packet. Maybe not 1 by 1, but maybe 1 by 2 or 1 by 3, as in 3 examples for every video that I do or something. I don't know. I just have to see what works yet. But that'll hopefully have you prepared for that. So, and then when those go live, the review packet itself will be live as well, so you can work through those. Last week also I asked you some even questions, and hopefully everyone saw on the announcement section that I did post the even answers and my work on those. So if you were looking about how to see how you did with those, it'll be there. Same will go this week. Probably tomorrow morning I will post on our D2L page the even numbers that I asked about in this week's homework. So there's quite a few of those. I think there was 5 or 6 of them this week. It's like they had all good even examples that we liked, or at least that I liked. But I'll be there, so in case you're looking at see how your work compares or your answers compare, since you can't look in the back of the book for the even answers. Make sense to everybody? Okay, good. I like where we're headed. Hopefully you don't feel like I'm pushing you too hard. I know there's some professors out there that have taken license that think that because apparently they're not going into the office every day, they're going to feel like they're working at their office at home and give you 8 hours worth of stuff every day. Obviously, I have another job too that is fairly demanding, and I'm not going to do that to you. So I'm going to cover what we would cover in class normally and move on from there. And so that has been my plan, and that will continue to be my plan going forward here. So, but if you look at the calendar, we don't have too many more weeks left to go. I think we have 3 weeks, I think, after tonight. Does that make sense? 24, and then, 1, and then 8. Yeah, so 3 weeks after tonight to end this, to get us through the class here. And again, the last night is still planned to have just a little Q&A slightly earlier than normal, and then you'll take the test after that. So, and we'll talk about that when we get closer to it. I don't want to get anybody all wigged out about how you're going to do it or anything. Trust me, it'll be fine. If you don't have a printer, it's going to be fine too. You don't need a printer. I've got a way to do all of it without having a printer or anything else. So as long as you've got your own pieces of paper to work on, you'll be fine. All right. So with that, let's open up for questions. What questions do you have about what we covered, or at least what the videos covered this week, which was 4.2 and 4.3. So we had 4.2, which was, that's my book here. Combining functions. Oh yeah, 4.2 is a great one of my favorites. And then 4.3, which was the one-to-one inverse function, another favorite. So some good stuff in chapter 4.
I have a question.
Yes.
Number 7, page 270, section 4.2.
All right, so 4.2, number 7, you say?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Let's bring this up here. Hopefully everybody can see my screen. My sharing screen. All right, 4.2, number 7. All right, so what are we doing here? All right, we're doing the full gamut of things. All right, so first let's write down what they gave us. They gave us f of x equal to the square root of x, excuse me, and then g of x equal to 1 minus x squared. All right, what they're having us do is run the gamut, as I like to call it. So doing f plus g of x. Let's see, part B was f minus g of x. Part C is going to be f times g of x. And then part D is going to be f divided by g of x. That's usually how this full gamut works. But it doesn't always work this way. So make sure you pay attention to the directions. Sometimes it'll be g over f. Sometimes it'll be g minus f. You know, in the first one, order doesn't matter, right? F plus g is the same as g plus f. In part C, you know, f times g is the same as g times f. So in A and C, order doesn't matter. But in B and D, order does matter. So be careful when you read these. All right, so in f plus g, what we want to read this as f of x plus g of x. And then we go back up here and we go, what was f of x? Oh yeah, that was the square root of x. So square root of x plus g of x is 1 minus x squared. And if there's any meaningful way to combine these, as in, are there any like terms, then combine them. And here, there's no like terms. So this is as good as this one's going to get. All right, next one. It's f of x minus g of x. It's basically the same process as the last one. The difference is now there's a subtraction between them. And so when we subtract, we have to be careful. So here's how we do that. F of x, again, is the square root of x. Great. Minus, now g of x. Now because we're minusing g of x, the whole function of g of x that gets subtracted, we need to have it in a parenthesis. No, wait, that's not x squared that way. Sorry. Let me, where's my eraser here? All right, all right, it's not gonna let me do that part. All right, so let me just do this. I thought I was gonna clear some of that. All right, so this is a bad part. Shh, get rid of that. Sorry. So it's still minus. We'll keep that part here. It's still parentheses, but it is 1 minus x squared like this. Sorry about that. Now, the reason we do that is because this negative sign has to apply to everything in the parenthesis. And so what this one is better going to read is the square root of x minus 1 plus x squared. Because we distribute that negative against the 1, which makes it negative 1, and against the minus x squared, which makes it plus x squared. If anybody makes a mistake on this one, it's usually here. They forget to use this parenthesis, and only the first element of g of x gets subtracted, not all of g of x. So don't be that person. Put it in a parenthesis, and then you won't make that mistake. All right, f times g of x is f of x times g of x. Now, in our case, that means the square root of x times, put parentheses around it, 1 minus x squared. Well, you're going to have the square root of x times 1. That's called square root of x. And then you're going to have the square root of x times negative x squared. Well, first of all, it's a negative. Here's where the fun comes in. Another way to write the square root of x would be x to the 1/2 power. If I take x to the 1/2 power times x to the 2 power, remember, we add those exponents together. So it'd be like x to the 2.5 power, except we don't call it 2.5 power because that looks silly. We call it the 5/2 power, but that's really what's happened on that one. And then f divided by g of x is f of x divided by g of x. Now, there's obviously restriction on this thing, right? First of all, f of x once again is the square root of x, and g of x is 1 minus x squared. So in our case, there's one restriction on this value here, this f divided by g, and that is x cannot be 1. Because if x is 1, we're going to have 1 squared, which is still 1, and 1 minus 1, which makes 0. And remember, one of the big fundamental things of algebra is you cannot have 0 in your denominator. That's a big no-no. So that's our restriction on this one, is we're saying this is our answer, but provided that x cannot be 1. It can be anything else it wants to be, it just can't be 1. Anything that would make that denominator 0 is a restriction. So how was that, Danielle? Did that give you some insight? Yes? Hopefully? Thumbs up, maybe? Something? Okay, good. All right, that's what I hear. All right. Other questions? That's it. Daniel's got the only question in the entire class. Come on, don't be shy out there. Remember, you're all on mute. It just mutes you automatically. So make sure you unmute to ask any questions, or at least.
Hey, this is Mohammed. So I have a question. I don't know. I couldn't figure it out how to make the video work, so I'm just gonna ask it with the blank screen.
Well, all right. I will clear the screen, and then you can ask your question. What do you got?
Okay. So I got more than a couple. Let's see if you can find which one is the best one between them. So they're all from 4.2.
Okay.
So I got a question about the number 5 and 23 and 24.
All right. Well, let's look at 23. Because number 5 is very much like number 7 we just did. The only difference is it has some fractional values in it. But let's take a look at 23 from 4.2 here. So in this one, it asks us some questions, right? And it asks you on the graph of things. So let me see if I can sort of recreate the graph, and we'll use that, or the graphs, I guess. So the g of x graph looks something like this, and it has kind of this, I guess, the shape like this. Something like that. I won't put the numbers in right now. It'll just confuse you. So that's our g of x, and then f of x. Let's see here, f of x. Let's see here is like this. And we've got kind of a straight line that goes right through here like this. Okay, good. So this is how we're going to answer these questions, right? So in part A, it says f plus g of 2. So first we want to make sure we line these up, as in this means f of 2 plus g of 2. So when I go for f of 2, what I'm going to go for is go on the f of x graph, and I'm going to go to where I find positive 2, as in where is 2 over here? And 2 hits the graph where? That's what I'm going to be saying the f of 2 equals. So if you look in your book on page 271, your graphs are a little more accurate than mine. But when I look at 2 on the f of x graph, I see that 2, when I trace it up to it hits that blue line, hits it at 1. So f of 2 to me is 1. And g of 2, we go the same way. We go, all right, where's 2 on the g of x graph? So here's our g of x graph. Again, we locate the 2 point on the x scale. We trace it down in this case until we find the where it hits the graph. It looks like 2 goes down to -3. So that's what I would say is this one is -3. So this problem has become 1 plus -3, which of course we know as -2. And then it's just a matter of the same thing. It's just all about the setup. So in part B, we have the fog of -1. One thing I like about this particular problem is that it kind of takes everything in 4.2, boils it into one problem, other than the graph part they hadn't really covered. But let's see here. Whoops. I'm going the wrong direction with this. Sorry, I was talking and looking at something else. All right. F of g of -1. So fog of -1. So first we want to find what is g of -1. So again, we go to our graph. We find where -1 is at. We find where it hits this graph. So if I go over there, it looks like -1 hits the g at 0. So this becomes f of 0 then, because g of -1 is 0. So then we say, all right, f of 0. So then we go back to the f of x graph and we say, all right, when f is 0, in other words, the 0 right here, the x value, what does it hit? Looks like that hits a grand total of -1 on this one. So that would be the answer for part B. For part C, we're at f divided by g of 4. So again, that means f of 4 divided by g of 4. Okay, so f of 4. Again, this time we're going to go the f of x. We're going to be looking for 4 this time to see what it hits. So I look at 4. It looks like 4 goes to, I'm guessing 3. I don't know. That looks pretty close to me. So we'll call it 3 there. And then g of 4. Again, we're going to find over here. We're going to go, where is 4 at on this graph? And g of 4 looks like it's -1 on that case. So we're going to have -3 divided by -1, which we call -3. All right, part D says fog of 1. So f of g of 1. So again, that reads as f of g of 1. So if you got a chance to watch the video, this is the turducken of math, and that we're cramming 1 into the g of x function, and then we're taking that and we're cramming that into the f of x function. So if you ever had a turducken, that's what it is. It's chicken and a duck stuffed into a turkey. And so that's what we're doing. We're stuffing 1 into the next to the next. So 1 into the g and then that into the f. So essentially that's our turducken there. All right, so this one we start g of 1. We go, all right, up here on the g graph, we find 1. We say, what is g of 1? I go in my book here, looks like g of 1 is -1. So this becomes f of -1. Then I go on to the f graph. I find -1 there. So over here is -1 as well. And I find that one. It looks like that is -2, I'm guessing. So we'll go with -2 on that one. And then part E is golf. So switch the order here. So golf of -2. So remember, this means it means g of f of -2. So we're going to find -2 first on the f. So we go to the f, find the -2, find out what that equals. So looks like -2 is -2. So this becomes g of -2. Then I go on to the g of x graph, and again, I find -2 there, and I say, what does that equal? And it looks like -2 is +1 in this case. And so that's going to be the answer here, +1. So you've got the -2, you've got the -1, you've got the -3, you've got the -2, and you've got 1 as those answers. And that's basically 4.2 in a nutshell. So Mohammed, that's a terrific question that you gave me. Kind of lobbed a softball up there, but that is basically, like I said, the entire section in one problem. You do the fog, you do the golf, you do the addition and subtraction and division, I guess. So I guess we did addition and division, but eventually it's the whole section in one problem. How was that?
Yeah, that was pretty good.
Hopefully that ties it together somewhat, other than my
So
messed up
the
writing.
thing that I didn't understand at the beginning, you will pretty much find the values from the draw or the graph.
In this particular case, yes. Most times they just, when you look at like when we did that last one, number 7, right? Instead of giving us graphs, they just gave us what these functions were. They said,
Okay.
This is the function and this is the function. F of x equals g of x equals, here's the function. In this case, they just gave us 2 graphs to get the same information. So when they don't give us the graphs, we've got to put values in and see what happens. When they do give us the graphs, then we don't have to put values in. When we're still putting values in, we're figuring out the x and we're figuring out the y that goes with it, as opposed to calculating it when they give it to us in the other form. What other questions do we have? Onima, that looks like you're sitting in a laundry room. Looks like there's a lot of laundry around you. Is that right? Or is that just a messy bedroom? Hey, I've got to comment something on your backgrounds. It gives me joy to see where you're sitting when you're on these Zoom sessions here. Jared, is that the only decoration you have on the wall? Is that little thing?
Yeah, I don't own a lot of decoration. Well, have you seen V for Vendetta?
I have.
Okay, hold on. She's really good.
Yeah. All right. Let me see this. Oh, that is good. That's really good. You're right. That's excellent.
Yeah, she does all kinds of little paintings like this and just tacks them up on the wall.
Oh, okay.
She gets the decoration space. I don't own any.
Well, so it's a kind of a collage then what you have going. So eventually maybe she'll cover the whole wall.
I hope so.
That'd be pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah, it would.
I like a collage of stuff. You know, my garage, I have a collage of beer labels. We call it the wall of beer, or the WOB for short. So, what, you want to say hi? Come here. Want to say hi? You say hi? You want to look over here? See hi? See, look right there. There's the camera. Here, yep. See the camera? Yeah? Want to say hi? See, there's people there? No people? Want to say hi? Okay. You happy? All right. See you later. That was one of four. So, that's Bella. She likes to come in and see what I'm doing all the time. The other three could care less, I guess. Shiki, you have questions? No?
No.
Are you sure?
That dog is cute.
All right, Jeff, look, this is my Bella.
Hey! Look at that face. What kind of dog is she, Danielle?
Yorkshire Terrier.
Okay. That's Bella. Our Bella here is a Yorkshire Bichon. So,
Yeah, she's a little bitty thing. Oh, look, everybody's got animals.
hey, look at cats. Jared, what's the cat's name?
That's Gatsby.
Gatsby. Nice. Shika, you have pets?
Yeah. I have one dog. Actually, not mine, but my sister-in-law has one.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to answer the question like, yes, I have pets. And that's it. Like, okay, I guess that answers the question. Yes, you do have pets. Other questions? Anything for 4.3 that you're our 1-to-1 and inverse functions section, the switch and solve method? You know, these sessions are certainly a lot more informative if you have questions that we can work through. That's why it's called, the question and answer period. So you question and I answer, or as opposed to me questioning and then you answering, and that's fine too. But if you have questions, well, okay, you could be good too. Maybe my videos are so good and so complete, you have no questions whatsoever. I know that's not the case, but I'm doing my best. I know they're not the, Hollywood production quality stuff, but I try. And we're getting close. I can see the light at the end of the tunnel. That's the one great thing about this week here for me was, I had a lot of things to do, but I looked in that calendar and I was like, wow, we are really getting close to the end. So again, that's why I'm pushing a little bit harder this week, but I think next week will be a little bit lighter and get you ready for that final test. So hopefully everyone's also had a chance to calculate their grade and what you need to get on the final exam to get whatever grade you're hoping to get in this class. Hopefully that you've taken care of that. And if you have questions on that, or you're not sure of your own calculation, hit me up on email. I'll be happy to look at it and see where we're at. So you have
Jeff,
understanding. Yes.
could you look that up for me? It's Danielle. I I'm not sure how to calculate that.
Oh
Could you
my
do that for me?
gosh, Danielle. All right, I'll take a note somewhere here.
Thank you.
Lucky I like you, I tell you what. All right.
That's funny. That's what I said to my kids today.
That's what I say to mine all the time too. Or the dogs, like, you know, look at the dog and I go, "You're lucky you're cute," because if you weren't, I tell you, you'd be sitting outside for a long time based on your behavior today. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Every time I go to record something, I mean, it's my recordings take longer than they should. Every time I go to record, in the background, I can hear dogs barking. Because anybody comes by our house, they decide that it's time to let me know that anybody's walking, I don't know, on the other side of the street.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a hard time with that sometimes. I'm always like, you know, I just had a good part. Now I got dogs in the background.
I know. I'm working from home and I'm basically the call center for the credit union that I work at.
Oh,
Every
geez.
time the phone rings, I swear to God, sometimes I can't answer it because my dogs are, the mailman came today and it was like all hell broke loose. I couldn't even answer the phone.
You're like, hello, hold please. Ah!
You've been watching me, apparently.
Oh, that sounds like me. I'm like recording and all of a sudden, like, I got to put it on mute and then, you know, I have to edit it out later. And oh my gosh.
I put it on mute and I'm yelling at my dogs and then I go back and I go, "Hi, how can I help you?"
Look, there's a racer function. I just figured that out. Hey, all right. Sorry about that. I didn't even know they had it. I was just looking up there. I kept seeing clear. I didn't see eraser. That's awesome. All right. Huh. All right. Well, I guess you learn something new every day. All right. I learned there's an eraser function. Yay. Getting to know Zoom is fun and fun. So just got like getting to know Microsoft Paint where I do all the videos in. That's fun too. So if any Futurama fans out there, anybody like the show Futurama at all? Jared, you do? Then you'll definitely want to see the clip for 5.5. I've got 5.5 example 2. I've got a Futurama clip in there, just a little one, but it certainly brings that section together, I think, nicely. So if you were in class, I would have showed it to you live, but luckily I found a clip out there on the interwebs that I was able to purloin for our class.
I left an attendance rated video for an attendance relevant video for the discussion.
I don't know about that, but oh well. All right. Well, we have what do we have left here? We got about 10 minutes left, so I'm still open for questions if you got them. Happy to do it, or just be a friendly face in case you're looking for that. I do want to add. Hopefully, everyone saw. I guess I do have another question. I didn't know if this went out to everybody yet, but does everybody know that they are doing tutoring, like in the tutoring center, but doing it online? Has everybody seen that notice? Danielle's shaking her head. Yes, Jared, you've seen that? Okay, good. That's good. So if you need, if you need the help, take advantage of it. It's still free. Certainly, it's a slightly different medium than you're used to, but I know Mike Pfaff in the tutoring center. He subbed for me. We've been chatting, and they've got their stuff together, I believe. So I think it'll still be a worthwhile experience if you do need that tutoring to get a hold of them. So it's by appointment, so you can't just like roll in there. You kind of have to make an appointment because they got to get the tech set up. But get that if you're needing that help. Mohammed, if you're having some trouble getting the videos going, don't know why that would be because it's on YouTube and everything works pretty well on YouTube. But if you're having trouble with some of those concepts, perfect time to give those tutoring folks or get on their invite. There's the dog. Get on that invite and get some of that help that you need. So. And if that's not working for you, again, hit me up with email. With Zoom and stuff, there's things we can do. I don't have a lot of spare time these days, but we can figure something out and work through half-hour session or something. So, but let me know. That's the best way to get me is on D2L email or just regular email, whichever one you want to. I check both. I'm trying to check them daily now. So if you need me, that's the best way to really get a hold of me, and we'll figure stuff out. All right. Well, I don't want to waste anybody's time. So if there's no more questions, I guess we'll just end early tonight. So again, the assignment for this week is going to be, let's see, let me pull that one last thing here. Let's see if I can share that. Am I sharing the screen? I don't think I'm sharing the screen here. Let's see. Let's see. Where's my share? Am I sharing? Am I sharing? You guys can see my Word document? No, you still see that? Well, I don't know what you're seeing. Okay. What am I sharing?
Stayed
Oh,
for
stop.
a second, and then it went away.
Okay, let's see here. New share, and let's see here. Okay, let's try that. All right, how about now? Can you see my Word document now?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So the schedule then, let's just go over that since we've got a few more minutes here. All right, so this week, so starting tonight, you start, the videos for 4-4, 5-2, 5-3, and 5-5. And yes, you'll notice that there's no 5 toolbox, there's no 5.1, there's no 5.4. So I am cutting away the fat, so to speak, to get us the meat of the material. So that's why we have weird sections given there for this. And then, so that's next week when we do our Q&A, that's what we'll be doing Q&A on. It's all this from 4-4 to 5-5 stuff. And then after that, so the next week you'll watch the 6-4 and 6-5 after our Friday session. And then we'll be doing some review of that. And then we'll be talking about the review packet and stuff. So, again, we've only got 4 weeks left. And, we're definitely into the end game here. So keep up on those things if you can. I know you guys all have lives and things too. But again, if you watch it and do your homework at the same time, or skip to the end so you know what the homework is, and then try to do it with the video, because all the homework is always posted at the end if you haven't watched any of them yet, so you can have that. So they all follow the same format. At least I've been trying to have them follow all the same format. And I've cut those homework problems again down significantly too, so you know exactly where the meat is again of the subject. So that makes sense to everybody. Danielle, you're on the right page with me now? All right, good.
Yes, I have a question. Can I ask something?
Yes.
Sorry, my videos doesn't work. I don't know why. Just you hear my sound, right?
Yes, I hear your sound.
Okay, I submitted until 3.1 assignment. What about 3.2 up to 4.3? We skip that one, or I have to follow new schedule? What I don't understand about that.
So you still have to do 4.2 and 4.3. Okay, that was for this week. So then next week, so this next week after tonight, if you will, I want you to work on 4-4, 5-2, 5-3, and 5-5. So if you can get to D2L, this is all posted on the announcements section of D2L. It says what the schedule is, what I want you to be working on after tonight, if you will, as far as what that is.
Okay, before that, we skip all 4-3, 4-4 something. Just we skip that one.
Well, if you go back to the original schedule, which I think is still on D2L as well, this was the updated schedule. Yeah, no, the original schedule still had us doing 4-3 and 4-4. I only revised it for the future parts, not the past parts. So you're supposed to do, I think we started with like 3. We started with 4 toolbox. I think we started with 4 toolbox in this video session of versus stuff. So I think it's 4 toolbox and then forward is where that's at. So check on the announcement section again. I think the old announcement is still there for the original schedule that I posted. So use that up until, 4:10, but then from 4:17 forward, use the updated schedule.
Okay, thank you.
Does that make sense?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, thanks for bringing it up. Appreciate it. Sorry, your video's not working. Are you on your phone? Are you on the computer?
On the computer, me?
Yes. Are you on the computer or are you on the phone?
Just on the computer.
And you can't see any video at all.
Yeah, I see some students.
I had the same problem on my computer. You have to have somebody that knows what they're doing get updates for you. They're behind the scenes updates. I didn't know I had to have an IT guy because I had the same thing. I had a camera with a line through it like you see on him.
Okay.
I had the same thing for months, and I had to have an IT guy. He had to go behind the scenes on my computer and do some updates. And then your camera will work.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of times sometimes the camera software doesn't update itself automatically, so you have to get the latest drivers and things for it. So
that was the word, drivers. You have to get the latest drivers and you have to get it updated, and then your camera will work.
So Tagasi, if you go on to Google and you put your computer name in there and just say camera drivers or updated camera drivers, I'm sure they'll have something out there for you. You may be able to download it and get that taken care of.
Okay, thank you. Let me.
No, you're welcome. And Daniel, thanks for bringing that up too. So it reminded me, I had some camera issues before I even got started figuring stuff out. I was like, why is my camera not working? So yeah, it took me a little bit. I think I had to do a driver update or something too behind the scenes to get that working as well, which I just never used it. I mean, it's always there. I've just, there's some people that will put tape over their cameras or stuff. I guess they think somebody's going to take control of their camera and watch them do stuff. I mean, I guess if they're watching me do stuff, they're just going to see my face typing or swearing at things. So, I mean, I guess more power to them. But I guess people use their computers for other things. So, if you're going to do that, don't do it in front of the camera, I guess. Pretend your mother's on the other end of the camera. All right. So no other questions? All right. So one other, I don't want to do it yet. No, we'll talk about it later. All right. I was thinking about, there's an app that I want you all to get at some point, and it'll be easier for doing your test, but we'll talk about that next week. So I think we're good for the week here. So good luck. Again, if you have questions at all, anything at all, whatever it may be, shoot me an email, and I'll be happy to answer it as soon as I can. So Danielle, I will try to get you your grade, but if anybody else needs that, again, shoot me an email, and I will tell you what you need on that final test if you haven't calculated it yourself. So, all right.
Thank you, Jeff.
Take care, everybody. Stay safe. Wash your hands.
Thank you, everybody. You have
Kiss
a
your
great
loved
night.
ones.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.